Now you can just press your window button, and then you can see the SPSS here. If you cannot see here, you can just write SPSS and then you'll just find it over there. For now, I'm going to open this 23 version. You can see here down, it's just opening. So it will take some few minutes to open while supporting the session. So it comes to that window, and it takes a few minutes to full opening. You just have to bear with it. Now it is there already, so we can just proceed. So at the first time you will get this Unicode mode. So what you have to do, just close it, and it will give you this screen, the one in which you can sit there. This is for you now to choose a new data set, and then you can just proceed. So as I said before, we have two windows. We have this, the first one is data editor window, and the second window you can see here is output window. We have two windows. This is output window, and this one is a data editor window. This is the two main which you have to use. But also we have another window, which is the third one, is just called the coding window. So for you, I think most of the time you will not be using the coding window, so there is no need to open the coding window here. Instead, we'll just proceed with these two of them, output and the data editor. So I'm going to this one called the data editor, the one I opened here. It has two parts. The first one is called the data view, and another one is called the variable view. I repeat, it has a data view, and another one is variable view. Data view, variable view. So for this part of variable view, here it's where now you're going to create your questions according to your questionnaire. You're going to create the questions according to your questionnaire format. In this called the variable view. But in the data view is where we use to enter data. For example, if I have a questionnaire with three questions, maybe gender, height, and the weight of the person, and want to compute a BMI. So here I'll just go to variable view, and in this part here, I'll write my variable is gender. My variable is gender. A type of the variable, you can just leave numeric, it's fine. And then here I'll say participant gender. Participant gender. This is the label. It's called the label. Okay, label. And this in the part of the values, you check out here, the way I'm opening, you can see these those three dots. Go to these three dots, click it, and then you'll get this pop-up screen. In this pop-up, we'll write 1 for male and 2 for female. This, I go here down, I write male, and then I click add. You have to click add. It will appear here down. And then I go back, I write 2. Here I write female. Female, and then I click here add. And thereafter I click OK. So I already submitted my codes. But you can see in this code, it's just written 1.00. So this is this decimals, it just defined here in this part of decimal. So you can just click it and then remove and put 0 because we don't have a decimal. So automatically it will just update this part, 1 male and 2 female. And then I'll just go down here and then I write weight. So my variable, I can just call it is weight, a participant weight. You can just write here weight, weight, maybe now here you have to specify weight in maybe kg, weight in kilograms, weight in kilograms. So if it is the weight in kilograms, you have a decimal, of course. So there is no issue of values because that is the random number. So you just leave, you don't need to put the values here. So you go again, we put height of the person, 8. And then leave it, it is still numeric. And this part, height also, it has decimals. So height, it will be in a centimeter. Okay, so you can put here height in centimeter. So here also still there is no need to code. But if it is something which you cannot categorize, let's say height, weight, age, if it is according to the age of that person, we have in the other health assessment figures like blood pressure and the others of that kind. Then you have to put the figure the way it is. So for that case, there is no need for you to identify the value. That one you have to put the way it is. But if it is something which it has the categories, is where now you can categorize over there. So that is how we do coding. So once you have put it here all your questions, then you can just go to this side written data view. It is just here. So you just have to go there, you click it, and once you click, you will find your questions organized in that format. It is just in the top, in the first row. Your questions will be in the first row, as how you can see it there. So in that case, it means a lot, and you have to understand what is the meaning of that arrangement. Simply in a column wise, each column represents a one question. Each column represents a one question. And in the row wise, each row represents the response from one participant. The response from one participant. So if you filled it until maybe row 20, so perhaps you filled up to here, it means that you have entered 20 response. The response from 20 participants. You have filled the responses from 20 participants. And if you check on top, here, this part here, you can see it's just indicating how many variables do you have. So you can see there we have visible is 3 out of 3 variables. So it means that we have 3 variables and all of them are within this window. They are visible. If you check properly, you can see this written, this varies from here onward. They are just gray in color. They are not black, they are gray in color. And even these numbers here downward, all of them here, all of the rows number, they are gray in color. Why gray in color? Because we have not put any value inside. And these variables which are gray in color, they simply means that these variables which are gray in color, they simply means that there is no variable created. So this is, they are not counted as a variable because we have not put those variables. So once you fill in those variables, then they will change it from that color which is gray, and it becomes and it turn into full black. And the same applied once you put any entry, the corresponding row will turn, the number will turn to full black. For example, let me show you here. I hope you can see it clear. The variables from this side onward, it is gray. So that means there is no, I repeat it, that means there is no variables titled apart from gender, weight, and height. But also this part here, it is also gray. This simply means there is no response entered apart from those first three. So for the first participant, the participant gender is male. The participant has a weight of 67.5. The participant has a height of 134. For the second participant, the participant is female, weight is 78, and height is 97. The same applied for the third participant. And the column-wise, it is the response of several participants for one variable. The response of the several participants for one variable. Like here, it concerned about what variable called the weight. See, you can just navigate by using arrows on your keyboard. For example, if I'm here and I want to go to the first person, I can just click the home tab. That will take me to the first variable of that person who I'm within. If I'm in this one, I want to go to the first question, then I just click the home tab, then it will go direct there. But if I want to go to the first question for the first participant, then I click Control Home. It will take me direct to the first participant on the first question. If I want to go to the last participant, if I'm here, then I have to click Control N button on your keyboard. Then it will just go there. So the best way to move while you're entering the data, for me, I just recommend to use the tab button. Once you click the tab button, once it reach here to the last person, it will go down and not go to the next variable. But if you're using direction arrows, it will still go to the variable which you have not even created. So if you click tab, it will go to the next. If I click tab, once it reaches to the end, it goes to the next person. Once it reaches here, it will go down. So simply, I can just enter another person. Then I click, I fill the response of the next person. And then I click tab. I fill for this one. I click tab. I go again to the next one. I put maybe 2. I click tab. Here, maybe it is 100. I click tab. It's here, maybe it is 156. I click tab. Then it goes down. But if you click direction arrow as a navigation button, then you can just find yourself creating another variable which are not there. And at the end of the day, it will affect your data. Because if we go back to the variable view, you will find you created a new variable called var0001, which is not within your variables. So if it appears that you created this mistake, you can just go to this variable here in the variable view button, and then you right click. You can just right click and click the button clear, and then you clear it. So once you clear from this side, it will be also removed from data view side. You cannot see it there. The same applied. If you created the variable here that you don't want, you can just click here and right click, and then you click clear. So you can create the variable direct from this side, but what I recommend, it is better you create the variable from the variable view side, and then you come to the data view only for the purpose of entering the data. Okay, so if you check, if I click this one called the file, I will get several options for that. If I go to edit, I will get several ribbons for it. If I go view, I will get ribbons inside options. If the same applied if I go to data, I'll get the option there for data tab. If I click transform, I get the options for transformation of data. The same applied for analyze, directory, graphics, utility, add-ons, and windows. So this one is just the shortcut ribbons have been added here. And these ribbons, they differ. They differ from the variable. For example, if I click a variable view side, you can see this one is not active. This one is not active. This one is not active. And this one also is not active. But when I go to data view, you can see now this is not active. This is not active. This is not active. And this is not active. But this one turned on. Insert case. Case, it refers to the participant response. We normally call it a case. And if you click here, it is insert variable. Variable refers to the question in your questionnaire. So for example, when I click, you can see it added in this side. So simply, we don't use those two options because when I want to add the variable, I just have to create it in this variable view. So I don't need to use this one. Also, for the part of case, if I want to add the case, I just have to add it downward here. So I still have I have the possibility to add it here. You see, but this one, the one in which you see it has a 1 and a 1 and a. This it has been created. This one it has been created for the purpose. It has been created for the purpose of switching from the code view to label view. From the code view to label view. If you remember previous when I create the variable called the gender. If you remember the time I create the variable called the gender, I simply wrote 1 to refers to male, and I wrote 2 to refers to female. But if you check this part here, you can find instead of putting 1 and 2, it just wrote there male and female in this part here. You can see it just wrote male and female. So what caused this difference? It is because of this button here. It is because of this. Why? If I click there, let me show you. If I click here, it will turn to 1. It will turn to codes. And if I click it again, it will turn to label. That's why you can see the way it is written there. It has switching from A to 1. So this one, it is stands for codes, and this A, it refers to label. Are we together there?
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it for weight, for this part of weight and height, it didn't change. Why it didn't change? Because we don't have labels for weight and height. We don't have labels there. Oh, and I forgot to record. After, I don't know, I'm sure it's just recording because I started I joined again after installation. So that is the yeah. Thank you, God. Have you understood there, class?
Yes.
If I goes to this part here, it's go to variable. So it's just if I want to, I have a lot of variables and I want to drop to a certain variable, then I can just click here and choose the variable which I want to go to. But if you have a few variables, then everything it is just there clear. There is no need for that movement. The same applied to this part here. It is if I want to see my variables I have in the codes, value labels. So by the time you fill in data in SPSS, you will be able to know what is the codes you have been using for each variables. So it is very easier. But if you forget, then you can just click here and see the labels. Like this one, you can see 1 for male and 2 for female. Variable label is participant gender, and even the variable name is gender. So I hope you can see it here. Very simple. Yeah. But as time goes, you'll be able to memorize your variable names, and even the codes inside. So this is for finding, if you want to find something within, either it's for within the variable of gender. If I click here, it will change it to the weight. If I want to find something inside, maybe I want to find somewhere where I wrote 100. Once I click, it will drop direct to 100 there. So it is just when you have a lot of data inside and you want to drop to a certain case, then you can just search it there. This one is for quick analysis, no need for it right now. Today, I just want to show you the windows to familiarize yourself to the interface of SPSS. Yeah. So that is that is how it looks like. If you want to save now, so you just have to go to here where it's written file, and then you can come to save. For the first time, you click save. But once you click save for the first time, it will give you the pop-up where you want to save. It will give you this pop-up. In this part here, we write the file name. So I can write my data set, my data set. This is the file type. So it will save it as SAV. It will save as SAV, SPSS statistics data file. If you click here, you have several options. If you want to save it as Excel file, if you go here, you can still see those options. You have a lot of them. So it's upon to you. But the first one, the correct one is this SPSS SAV. So you have to choose where do you want to save it. So the first option, it will go to documents. But if you want to find a specific place to save it, then you can just click here. You check where you want to save your folder. If it is a new volume, a specific place where you want to save it, you can just navigate this folder. And now I can just choose here where I want to save it. And then after selecting where I want to save, then I click save. Thereafter, it will be saved, and the title here on top will change. I hope you can see now it has changed it to my data set. So after you save for the first time, for the next time, you just have to click here, pop. So for example, if I put another data here, I just changed this from female from female to male. I changed this one from female to male. Then you can see this one is now active. So I can just click here to save. Done. It is just saved there. So whenever it is active, it will remind you that you have not saved your updates. You have not saved your updates. That's why it turned to active. So what you have to click, and then you save. Once it turned to gray, means you have already saved your updates. So next time I can just go now to where I saved my document. If it is on desktop, I'll just find there. But for me, I saved in the documents. So when I go to documents, I will find my document there inside. For me, I normally click here, date modified, and then it will come on top. So I can see it here. So once I get it here, I just have to press enter, and then it will open for me. It just takes a few seconds, like I told you before, but you can see it here down already started. And then it will just open.